g prime of x. And what's the derivative of this g prime of x? There's your g. What's the derivative of 3x plus 5?
3.
Times. Most of you are going to think this way. It's a lot quicker. You do f prime of g, right? That means you got to put your g back in, and then you multiply to the chain. But unfortunately, I'll keep emphasizing this. Students sometimes forget to multiply the what? The chain. So never forget that chain, okay? It's the g prime. And do we get the same answer? Is this the same answer as before? What do y'all think? What's 10 times this 3? 30. Same result. But Josephine, hit that g prime, maybe even write it in a different color. Over here off to the side, because we don't want to miss the what? That chain. And you're right. G prime of x, same thing as g prime. G of x, the same thing as just what letter? G. I'm doing f of a g. Is that what I got there? All right, let's do like 50 more of these. I encourage you to try it this way though. Right? Can you tell it was left right? It was just like doing power rule, and then in the end I just multiplied it what? 30. Do y'all see that? It was just like doing power rule. It just at the end I looked inside the parentheses and I go, what's the derivative of 3x plus 5? And it was a what? 3. That's chain rule. Chain rule is not that bad. It's just we got to make sense of it, all right? So this is the most popular way. Josephine?
Do you ever have to distribute the 3x plus 5?
Distribute it?
Yeah.
That would be 9 3x plus 5. Can you imagine how long it would take to expand that? Oh, you know how long it would just take for this. Square is not that bad, right? FOIL? Even that takes a little while. The Pascal's triangle you mentioned would be a little helpful, but my goodness, no. No, you're good. You're good. Let's try another one. If I say try it that way, okay? Well, I should leave this up here so you can compare it. In case you're getting lost, you're like, what is this now? Leave that up here, right? That was the answer. Hey, Josephine's gonna make the next one. Josephine, what are you putting in the parentheses?
Do I take them?
Yeah, make it a binomial though. You know, I did 3x plus 5, I don't care.
5x plus 7.
Love it. Now make this a nasty high power. Don't make it squared, we got other techniques. Okay. There it is, that one. Get the derivative. Absolutely, we're using chain rule. That's right. We're like, oh, okay. Power rule, right? By the way, some calc instructors call this the extended power rule. Why do they say the extended power rule? That's the extension. But not many do. I always refer to as chain rule. Where can I put the 42?
In front of the 10.
Power rule, right? Put the g back. G was 5x plus 7, right? I'm just going to stop right now here, Josephine. What have I done so far? I have done this. That's what I've done. I took the derivative of f, and then I put g back in. That's what that means. I took the derivative of f. What was that? F was like a u to the 42. I took the derivative, and I put the g back in there. Now, what's the chain's derivative? Don't ever forget to multiply the chain. What's the derivative of that g? We're done, but we should multiply 5 to the what?
42.
42, right?
210.
What's 5 times 42?
210.
You're done. Is that okay? You're like, man, I got chain rule down. I'm going to spend all class on this. Well, we got to do trig functions, right? Everyone, we got to do not just e to the x. How about e to the 2x? Chain rule. We're not just going to do sine of x, we're going to do sine of 2x. Chain rule. Do you hear what I'm saying? Sine of 2x. Sine composed of 2x, you need chain rule. E to the, it's not just e to the x, wait, it's e to the 4x, chain rule. It's used on so many problems, so I want to make sure you're like,
Just
what?
answer it this way.
Really good at it. Oh, go ahead, what was that, Am? What was that?
You could just instead, instead of doing that, we just do this way, it's more easier.
Yeah, I like it. You're just saying do this, right?
Yeah.
I love it.
That's faster. Yeah.
That's the way, a lot faster.
Yeah.
We did that once. I wonder if you'll ever do that again.
No.
She goes, no. Isn't it great? Just don't ever forget the what?
The
Chain. Yeah. You got it. A lot of times I'm writing tests. It doesn't have to be Calc 1, it could be Calc 2 or Calc 3, and I'm writing like, I'm doing stuff like that. Like, student made a narrative problem, I'm like, chain rule. All right, here's my next one. Sine of 2x.
You want us to try it first?
I think on these first few, Art, I want to walk people through them,
Okay.
just so you get comfortable with this chain rule. Because this time, everyone, it's totally different than the last one, I have to be honest. F and G, right? And when G a lot of times is in the parentheses, what do you think G could be? 2x. So we're going to call G the 2x, right? So what do you got here? Well, do you remember what's derivative of sine?
Cosine.
S, two negatives here go that way. The derivative of sine of x is cosine of x. So I'm like, all right, there's my G, 2x, so I'm going S. So this would be like this, right? If the derivative of sine was cosine, sine of 2x, I'll write cosine,
2x.
and then I'll put my 2x back in. That means I'm putting my G back in. And so far, everyone, this is what I've done. I've done this. I've taken the derivative of my f, and I've substituted my g back in the parentheses. Do y'all see that? But is that chain rule? Is that no, chain rule is f prime of g of x times what? G prime. And you bet, everyone, you can imagine as a calc teacher here, Professor Mestre, how many times I've got this answer to this. How many times I've graded tests, name the calculus, 1, 2, or 3, that's what I've seen. And you're like, oh, what did I miss? There's something missing, the chain. What's the chain? 2. Yep, nailed it. Right here I'm gonna say, wait, don't forget to multiply G prime, and what's the, and most students like to put it in front. What's the derivative of 2x? 2. So in this final answer, I think the best way to write this is 2 cosine of 2x. Have you noticed with my writing on the board, if I ever just write cosine of x, I don't put parentheses. But the minute I have cosine of like a 2x, what am I putting right here?
Parentheses.
Parentheses. The reason is, everyone, if I didn't put these parentheses and I just wrote this, you might interpret that as just the cosine of a 2 multiplied by an x, right?
Mhm.
That's what I mean. So that's why it's important. You'll notice it's a good habit to get into. Especially WebAssign. I get students all the time, like in my online course, and they'll go, "What? There's WebAssign made an error and they marked my problem wrong." And the reason they missed it is because they didn't do what? They typed in this. They didn't type in that. Cool.
I got one question.
Sure.
Do you need to remember the double identity like 2 cos A, 2 sin A, those kind of formulas?
I think it helps.
It helps.
I think you can get through my entire course without the double angle identities. Remember that chart sheets I gave you? Somewhere on there I have something called double angle identities. I'll just write them down real quick. Sine of 2x is equal to 2 sine x cosine x. And there's one for cosine 2x. Art, do you know that one?
2 cos square cos square x minus sin square x.
Good job, man. And these are identities, trig identities. This question was, we're gonna need to know this. I'll be honest, I think you can get through my course. I think you can get through this Calc 1 course. And those two, you might never need them, all right? Calc 2, you're definitely gonna want this one, right here, and this one. They're gonna start emerging as being helpful, the trig identities. and they're helpful, and they can rewrite a sine of 2x a different way. That's the only time, I think. And you run to get in calc too. Cool. All right, everyone, great job. This next one, Art, I'm not helping anyone. Differentiate. You know, and by the end of class, I think we'll do 50 of these. I'm serious. I've already done like 4 or so. You'll get faster. We'll just start going boom, boom, boom. You'll start thinking of problems. Try that one, Josephine. See what you did. But Amber, do it the way you were saying. Don't do it. Do F prime and G times G prime.
Yeah, that's more easy.
And once I get you all rocking and rolling with this, then let's look at things that just get a really, really what?
Ugly.
So right now, I'm making sure you're good on trig function. Once I think you've got all trig down, then I think I'll do radicals. And then I'll do E. And then after that, I'll stick a couple trig functions together. See how you do. Hey, what do y'all get?
-5 cosine.
No, sine. This
You all agree?
Yeah.
sine.
Everyone getting this?
Why is it
Hmm?
sine? Isn't it supposed to be negative?
Cosine's derivative is negative sine.
What do you think? SCSES, what's the derivative of cosine? You know what cosine is?
Negative sine.
Negative sine. Right?
Yeah.
She's checking it out. Good. And then we multiplied the chain, right? Yeah, good.
I got 5 minus sine 5x.
Ah, let's see. So we did this. Negative sine of x, right? And then we multiplied the what? We multiplied the chain, which is g prime, right? All that was f prime of g. Then we multiplied the chain. What's the derivative of that 5x? 5. But now I have to just write this in a nice manner. Think about this though. That's a -1 times sine of 5x times a 5. Let me repeat that. That's a -1 times sine of 5x times 5. So the best way to write it is -5 times sine of 5x. Good deal. All right.
On the test, how many chain rule problems you might have?
10.
10?
Makes more sense.
You know, like, it can be this easy, but probably a little harder. But don't worry, we just started this, right?
Yeah.
We just started, but there'll be a few. You know what I'll do? I'll definitely have one like that, and then I'll go, find the equation of the tangent line drawn at the curve, right? And you know what to do, right?
Yeah.
You know exactly what to do.
Would you have this like do it the other way or?
Oh, no!
Okay.
Oh my gosh, no!
Okay.
Heck no! I started that because I wanted you to see one way it's presented. It makes sense. When you saw me, I was writing it all out. U and the D, and I wanted you to see how everything flew. But now you're like, this is what's going on, right? Everyone is able to mentally see how, okay, G is that little thing in the what? Your G, we can just treat it like hide it and go, what's the derivative of cosine? Negative sine. Put the G back in, multiply the derivative of the G. Right? Good. All right, we did sine of 2x, we did cosine of 5x. One more. Tangent 5x squared. I would like you to try that. Now, this doesn't help us with tangent, so I'm going to have to write it over here. From yesterday, we just learned trig derivatives for the first time. What was the derivative of tangent x?
Secant squared.
Good job, secant squared of x. So we just learned that, so I'm going to put it on the board because I know you're like, gosh, I can't remember that from last night. So what would tangent of 5x squared be? I think you see where g is though, right? Josephine, you see the g, don't you? In this problem, where's g? Yeah, there you go. You're going to go f prime of g times g prime. Don't forget the chain. Before you leave today, I'll give you a sheet. has chain rule on there. Let me see how many I wrote on here. If you just want extra practice on chain rule. I need help with chain rule. I'm like, okay, here's a bunch. So I'll pass these out for you, Lee. You can notice these photocopies don't look so great. Because this was a document, everyone, that I scanned from another one before. I used to have it on a hard drive. The hard drive crashed. I didn't have it backed up. So I was like, daggone. But I had some old paperwork, you know, like in the garage of this stuff. By the time you scan it, a piece of paper, it doesn't look so great. But on the back side, the front side just gives, you know, the whole idea what chain rule is. But I got at least, you know, just a bunch of problems to practice. The chain was necessary. All right, let's do a finite tangent.
5 secant squared x parentheses.
Secant squared,
5x
put 5x in,
square.
that's f prime of g. But at the end of f prime of g, chain rule, you gotta multiply the what? G prime. Secant squared of 5x squared. What is g prime?
10x.
10x. Now, what's a good way to write this? It's always good to put the coefficient and like the letter x before that trig function. What's a good way to write
Oh,
that?
you did the power rule inside the parentheses, and then you get the.
So I'm just gonna write it as 10 times x times what? Secant squared of
5x.
5x squared. Am I okay with that?
Yeah, you just did the power rule inside the parentheses.
That's right.
Okay.
There you go. When I did this, you're like, you did the power rule of that thing. You're like, the thing in the parentheses, which we refer to as g of x. And feel free to say it that way, the thing in the parentheses. That's exactly what it is. A lot of times it's there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes, though, everyone, it's not in the parentheses.